What's going on, everybody? Welcome to your daily astrology horoscope for Friday, April 14th, 2023. Astrologer Brian Scarborough here, Fixed Air Moon, keeping the collective fixed on astrology. I appreciate you all so much. Thanks for being here with me. Big happy birthday to my mom. It is her birthday today, April 14th. Happy birthday to all the other Aries out there. And happy birthday to this channel. It was 3 years ago today that I started this Fixed Air Moon astrology channel, doing a horoscope every day. And other stuff too, but yeah, it's crazy. I think it was December 20th of 2020 was the only, maybe it was December 17th. It's right there around the eclipses in Sagittarius with the South Node. But I missed a horoscope. That's the only time I've ever missed a daily. Kind of crazy to think about. I guess it's just very Saturn in the 10th and Sun Saturn and Capricorn and Sun and Saturn Capricorn. Yeah, just keep going. So here we are. 3 years running. So happy birthday to my mom and happy birthday to this channel and happy Friday to you all, and I hope everybody's doing outstanding. Again, I appreciate you all so much. Thanks for being here with me. Well, on this Friday, it is very Saturn energy. That Saturn in Pisces is at 4 degrees, and it is making the exact sextile to the North Node in Taurus and the trine to the South Node in Scorpio. So I do think there is a lot about keeping going, dedicating, but it's in different ways. I think we're realizing again that there's more to grow. It's almost like we take that South Node with the trine in Scorpio, and it's the osmosis effect from everything that we've taken in is coming to, it's hit its culmination point. So there's like not much more left in that cycle that we've been in since even, Pluto in Capricorn in 2008. But, maybe even since 94, last time Saturn was in Pisces. There's so much that we've taken in, we've learned, we've worked towards, we've dedicated to, and we're starting to see the end of that. And that's Saturn getting ready to come into Aries and kind of stamp a new, identification, a new identity on our lives. And that's going to be the next, 30-year chapter that's coming. And Pluto in Aquarius, this 20-year chapter that we're just getting a glimpse into. So I think there's something about realizing too, because remember, Pisces is where things do come to dissolve. They also come back to the universe, they come back to the oneness, so it's not like anything ever actually goes away. You cannot destroy energy and matter, right? But I think it's getting back to a truer essence of what you came here for and taking all that you've learned and, starting to really put it into this reality, but in different ways. And that's Pluto and Aquarius is like, okay, we got to innovate. We got to use what we do know, but there's still different ways to go about using even what we know. And I think, there is still that level that, well, we got to still be about it. We got to stay on it. We're also seeing Venus in Gemini today. It's going to square that Saturn exact. So, and it's also quincunx the South Node, right? And semi-sextile the North Node. So very interesting angles to that South Node in Scorpio, and even just having a Venus-Saturn square, this is very, it has its good things about it. Don't get me wrong. I feel like Venus and Saturn have like an unspoken bond to where they can work really well, but it can feel like we have to work extra hard, where we really do have to grind it out for the things that we want or how we're going to acquire value. Venus is the dispositor of the South Node, or of the North Node, in Taurus. So it's definitely, it's interesting because I feel like we have to stay on our grind, but it's still like, well, we have to release maybe the emotional attachments to what we thought the outcomes would be, or what we thought the best value and quality of life was, because it's all starting to shift and turn, and this is a mutable square between the two. So we have to, I think, be open to new ideas, but still be able to put the work ethic in, and to really let our soul dedicate, and maybe not so much just the ego that we've identified in the past with, but the ego that's more in alignment with our soul, that's more healed, kind of building on what I've been channeling through the astrology previously. And I think that that's very positive. I think, this could be one of those times where it feels like money's tight. It is tax season right now. It's like the, last couple days of tax season. So, money can be something that's feeling a weight in our life, or, keeping the wheels turning mentally. And hopefully, these aren't things that are causing anxiety. And if they are, these are where we have to accept the feeling. Anxiety can be a great tool in our life. When we feel those anxious moments, it's our body trying to tell us something. So I think we have to listen to that truth, and, in some ways with Saturn, it's always kind of suck it up and deal with it in many ways, because that's the only way that it works with Saturn. You can't really bypass Saturn, if you will, even in Pisces. So I think we are at this place where, there's just certain things we could be feeling or thinking that are, making us feel separated or halted from, comforts in life. But it's just showing us that there's more ways, there's more opportunity, but, we got to get after those ways that feel unique and make sense to our own truths in life. And I think when you look at Venus in relationships, I think that, that square to Saturn is a powerful one when it comes to relationships. There's a reason that Saturn's exalted in Libra. There's a reason that Venus is the ruler of Libra. These two planets have something special when it comes to relationships. And even in square, it's trying to like force us to dedicate to the partners in life that meet our values, that share our truths, that, have that same connective aspect to the universe. And it's also shown us where it just isn't going to work. There's certain things that they're not mixing right. They're not mixing properly. They're causing too much anxiety. It's almost like forcing something. So it's an interesting one where you can really see how to really make a beautiful commitment to your truth, another person's truth, with an unconditional layer. I mean, these are bonds that can be so strong when you get these squares with Venus and Saturn. But it's also, again, it can feel like it's work, or we have to come to some understanding or conclusion to get there. Of course, this moon in Aquarius is, I think, helping us be a little bit more of an observer emotionally, and having us kind of not get too embedded in situations. That moon's going to sextile over to Chiron in Aries as it's transiting through this mid portion of Aquarius. So I think, there's just different ways of relating. I think we all desire a level of freedom. It is Aries season. Aries wants a little freedom. It wants to do what it wants to do. Jupiter's here, Sun, Jupiter, they're, separating a little bit with the Sun at 24, Aries and Jupiter here at 22, I believe, coming today. So they're still tight. There's still a lot of gifts here. But again, we were wanting to like go off on this big journey in our life. And I think we're seeing too, like, are we getting the unconditional love from people in our lives that want to, help us build or help us, be solid in this foundation that we're trying to, grow for ourselves, and kind of looking at the future and kind of like creating it in the now. So it's definitely like potent energy, big time. And I think so much of it too with Saturn and square to the Venus, and then, a great aspect to the sextile to the North Node, which is disposited by that Venus. We're also having to relate to ourselves and stay really dedicated to what we can create, what we can manifest, and what the value of ourself is. And we're even going to see, of course, the moon in Aquarius make its squares over to Mercury, which is going to go, retrograde in just 7 days, just a week from now. It's at 13 degrees. It's also going to square over to Uranus in Taurus at 17 degrees. So, there's weird levels like where we have to say what's on our mind. We have to say what we emotionally feel. Not from like necessarily, I feel like a judgy standpoint, but still, like, we all have a truth. We all got to, express these things and get these things out in ways that can be, beneficial for, I think, both parties, but still staying true to being connected to your core values and an understanding of what those are. So definitely it's an interesting Friday. It's got some cool vibes to it. I feel like we just have to use our spiritual maturity to really navigate situations and say what needs to be said, to express our unique nature, and to not, isolate from that. So it's like really getting back to your core self, your core values, and being able to relate that as needed with the people in your life. Because I think this is, again, where like really long-term, like tribe, friend, group energy into a future is starting to really take place. But there's also a dissolving aspect of where certain things have really, they've already been taken in, alchemized. There's been that osmosis effect within us, and we have to be okay with some of that waste, expelling from us. That's the South Node, right? That's K2. It is the bottom half of the dragon, right? So it is where the waste comes out. And we need to kind of, go towards a consuming nature of the North Node. And it takes effort, and I think it takes that spiritual maturity with Saturn in Pisces to know what needs to go and to know what's here to stay. And the square to Venus is making that very apparent, even though it can feel like a weight or it can feel pressure. At some point, it is trying to activate. I think the right conversation, the right mental understanding, and trying to help us feel safe in our own body and in our own mission, while still relating that from hopefully a place where we can be not so attached with the moon in Aquarius and even square Uranus. We hopefully not too separated or not too outcasted in any ways, but using our uniqueness to navigate this, because that's really where I think the channel's coming through and where we can find a lot of strength in identifying where we are going. So I do think it's a big it's a big day. This is every day. It's just one of those times in the astrology, one of those times we chose to be here. There's just importance to every day, whether big or small, or there's just always something important that we're learning. And, I think our response to situations is very telling for what the future is going to hold. So I think, having that emotional response, but from a very mature level and, emotionally intelligent level is critical in our truths and in defining the environments and the relationships and the security that we need, or even just the self-confidence we need to really go about those situations. Let's see what we got here from Newport, Oregon. We got the Four of Pentacles in reverse. Yeah. It does feel like there's just value shifting, it's changing, and we gotta be, willing to say, okay, things have changed. My whole understanding of value has changed. How do I get more of what really does bring comfort and, good vibes and good feelings into my life? But, how do I let go of things that are not? How do I, not hold on so tight? That's the test right now. There's aspects that are really just trying to evolve, and that's in some ways dissolve. I mean, we can hold on for dear life all we want, but it's just going to make events seem more cataclysmic in the future. So we all got to figure out what we're having to dissolve in our life or accept, and take responsibility for that sort of dissolution, which could be big or small depending on the person, but you got to come to that conclusion for yourself. But, I don't think holding on for dear life is going to get us anywhere, except, it could cause more pain later. The Magician, upright. Yeah, it's so funny, because I think that we have alchemized and taken in so much of what we needed from the past. It plays a role, it has its purpose, but now we're, starting to realize there's new tools, there's new ways to create, there's new ways to come to an understanding of value or of manifestation abilities or creation or just life in general, and how to, turn, constantly be able to alchemize lead into gold in our own lives and within ourselves. So I think that, it does feel like, we have everything we need right now. We didn't get to this point for no reason. So now it's like, okay, use the magic. It's what you're here to do. It's okay if you let go of something, you're making room for something more. And I think the cards say that with those. And got the Moon card reversed. So, I feel like maybe we can want to, we can't hide from change forever. We can't avoid it. When we feel these things, we got to be willing to accept the feeling and, not try to detach from emotion. I think that it's just using it to come to, really conscious understandings of how to be in the ebb and flow of life. It's always going to be up, down, high, low, left, right, side to side, whatever. There's just some way that we have to... Oh, a hummingbird's above me. Hi. Cool. He's a loud little guy. Hummingbirds just come and go, zip, zap, stay in one spot for a minute, zip away. I think we have to be willing to be in that place a little bit, and I think our feelings and our emotions can take us really far. We're seeing Mars, of course, in Cancer. It's starting to get ready to a square to Chiron in the next couple weeks. That one's going to be an emotional, roller coaster on its own. Emotions are a tricky thing right now, but I do believe that's where the response in life is crucial. So, can't run from the emotions, right? We can definitely take some time to come to our own understanding of the emotion and the feeling, but I feel like there is something where we got to step up and deliver, the feeling in a way that makes some sort of sense, either to ourselves about what we need or to the people in our lives. It's very important, so. Don't run from change. Don't run from your emotions. Feel everything. Realize that it's just trying to get you to activate and to dedicate and step up for more of the magic that you possess. But that's up to you. No one else can, show you that magic. You got to do that. So I hope you do. I love you all very much. I hope you have a beautiful Friday. Happy birthday to my mom, and thank you so much for being here. I can't believe it's been 3 years of a daily horoscope every day. Yeah, I love it. All right. Appreciate you all. Have a great Friday, and I'll see you all for the weekend forecast tomorrow. Much love. Peace.